Hello everyone, myself Navyatha Ravi, working as Assistant Professor in the Department of Cybersecurity and Data Science in MLR Institute of Technology. Today I am going to deal with the topic Structured Query Language, that is SQL. The overview of presentation includes Introduction to SQL, Basic Data Types in SQL, and the main clauses in SQL queries and basic SQL queries, some of the examples. Next, some of the sample queries. How we should able to represent or retrieve the data by using SQL queries, right? So here I want to retrieve what? Customer ID, name and salary. I want to retrieve these three columns data from customers table. As I said, this is nothing but the customers table, from customers table whose salary is greater than 2000. Whose salary is greater than 2000. So, what I said, I have represented three clauses: select, from and where. So, select, what I want to select? ID, name and salary. ID, name and salary. These three columns, attributes, data I have to represent here. From which table? As this is customer table, from customer. Where? What is the condition? Salary greater than 2000. So, what will be the output here? So, what is the salary here? Represented 2000, 1500, right? Whatever the data that I want greater than 2000. Salary greater than 2000. So, here this will be retrieved, this will be retrieved, this will be retrieved and the last row, this also will be retrieved. So, the output of this query will be these three. And whether it is the output, what I have represented here, not all the columns will be displayed, only these four rows, whatever the columns that I have represented, what here ID. So, the output will be here ID, name, salary, only these columns will be represented. What are the IDs here? 4, 5, 6, 7, right, 4, 5, 6, 7, next Chaitali, Hardik, Komal and Muffy. These are the names. And what are their salaries? 6,500, 8,500, 4,500 and 10,000. So, only this is the output of this above query. If at all, I want to represent the whole information, that means along with the age also, age, address also I have to display. Then, how should I able to represent? To represent the whole information based upon some condition, we must use asterisk. Select asterisk star, that is nothing but star. Select asterisk from the table name, where condition, that is what we have to write the query. Next, here what is the schema here? The schema of a table is nothing but the table name and its attributes, not the content. So, what is the schema? Schema is nothing but the definition, that is a table, SID and SName. This is what the schema, that is nothing but simple design, right? Not, it doesn't, what is schema? Schema is nothing but the design of a database. It doesn't bother about the internal content of the data. So, here schema, for example, let us discuss, this is a product table and here this product table contains P name, next price, category and manufacturer. What are these? These are nothing but the attributes or fields or columns. So, to represent a schema, we use in this format, just a table name with the attributes. This is what the schema, just the design. Okay. So, what is the key attribute in this? How it can be represented? It can be represented by underlining that attribute, that is nothing but a primary key attribute. Clear? So, a key is an attribute whose values are unique. We underline a key. We must underline. That is nothing but primary key. It acts as a primary key for that particular table. So, here see P name, which has been underlined. That is nothing but this P name can be considered as primary key. That means, so if at all it is considered as primary key, then the values in the primary key must be unique and not null. Clear? Next, let us discuss how to remove the ambiguity. between the attributes, how to represent. Removing the ambiguity is nothing but we have to represent it in a disambiguous manner, right? So, if at all two relations or two tables contain the same names of attributes containing which is of same names, right? Then how a database can able to represent that particular attribute belongs to that particular table, right? So, here let us discuss this concept with example. So, person is one table relation, company is one relation. So, person contains the attributes pname, address and works for. This is what the table for person, which consists of attributes pname, address and works for. And let us consider another table, that is what company table, company, which contains attributes, what? CNAME, company name and address. So, here works for is nothing but the company name, and the person is working for that particular company. So, here works for and CNAME are same, are equal, are same. Okay, but the name has been changed here. Instead of CNAME here, I have represented works for. Clear? But the data is here, what the company name only. So, and we have address attribute for person and the same address attribute for company. If at all I want to select address, so let us discuss this one with this example query. So, select, see, pname address. What is here distinct keyword? Distinct keyword is used to retrieve the data uniquely. That is nothing but if at all we have same names. For example, XYZ. The person name is also in XYZ in another table, right? So, it will display only once. The same name will be displayed only once by using distinct keyword. Distinct means itself we have to differ, right? The same names must not be displayed again and again. So, to display the data uniquely, we use this distinct keyword. And here, I want to select pname and address. I want to select what? Pname and address from person, company, from these two tables. Person table and company table, I want to retrieve pname and address. So, this is what my output table, right? So, this is what my output table. I want pname and address from these two tables, where works for is equal to CNAME. Based upon condition, what is that condition? Here works for and company name, both are same. Only I have changed the name. So, this concept has been dealt in the previous sessions like joins. So, for natural join and the names, or for equi-join, the names can be same or different. But for natural join, if at all to join two tables, both the attribute names must be same. This was dealt in our previous sessions. You can watch those videos also. Okay. So, here from person, company, from these two, based upon the common column, company name. So, whatever the company names are same, then those pname and address can be retrieved. But the problem here is, in this table I have address attribute and in this table also I have address attribute. So, which one I have to retrieve? Which one I have to consider? Pname along with this address or pname along with this address? Which one I have to retrieve? That's what, to remove that ambiguity, here we use variable type representation. For example, so here I used to represent person table P, one variable, and I used to represent C for company. So, if at all I used to retrieve address from this person table, then I should mention it as P dot address, right? Why? Because, so this address, P dot address is nothing but by this variable. This variable is represented to the table what? Person, right? So, we can able to know, we can able to get this address must be retrieved from this person table. Or else, if at all, I want to retrieve this address from company table. Which variable I have declared here? C, right? So, here I should mention C dot address. Clear? So, in this manner, we can able to remove, right? Rectify the ambiguity. So, here see, person dot pname. Here, instead of writing variables, I have represented here the table names. The table name itself I have represented. But here you can represent the variables also, whatever the variables you require, right? So, for person instead of representing. So, person dot pname, company dot address. What is this meant for? What is this meant for? This pname must be retrieved from person table and address must be retrieved from company table, right? So, from which tables here? Person and company. Where condition, what is the condition? Works for CNAME, these two must be equal, and works for belongs to person table, CNAME belongs to company table. So, that is what the thing. So, here which I have represented what address, which address that I should consider. So, in this manner we used to rectify the problem. Next, how to create tables. Let us discuss these three tables and how to create. How to create a table. This is the table that I want to create. Then what is the procedure that I have to represent it in SQL? So, I want to create a table. What is the table name here? Silas. Create table. What is the table name? Silas. Create table. Table name SID. The attributes SID, which is of which data type? Integer data type. SID integer, comma, yes name. Yes name. What is the data here? Character, right? S name, character of some 20. Next, rating, which is of integer data type. Integer, comma, age, integer. So, in this manner, we used to create a table, Silas table. In the same manner, we used to create boards table and reserves table. Then the tables will be created. Then how to insert a data into a database, into these tables. How to insert by using insert command. This one already I have discussed, but again I am writing. So, insert into, what is the table name here? Sailors. Insert into Sailors. What are the values that I am going to insert? Insert into table name values. What are the values here? 1, comma, Fred, comma, 7, comma, 22. So, in this manner, I used to insert that data into a table. So, in this manner, we used to create all the three tables. So, by using DDL, data definition language, first of all, we used to define a table, create table, sailors of SID integer, yes name, character, rating integer and age, here real data type. Why? Because age 22.0, right, 22.0. Like that, if I used to represent means the floating point numbers I use here, I can use represent real or float data type. And what is the primary key here? SID. SID is nothing but has been represented as primary key. So, what is the meaning of the primary key? Primary key which contains the data in an unique manner and not null values. In the same manner, we used to create ports and reserves table. And to insert here, see, what is the content here? Silas reserves boats. Silas will reserves boats. Here we have the connectivity between these three. Right. To join two or more tables, we use the concept of foreign key. We use the concept of foreign key. So, the key that acts as a foreign key, that is represented as foreign key, will act as primary key in another table, right? To maintain relation between two tables, we use foreign key concept. So, apart from foreign key, we also discussed to relate two tables or to join two tables, we use joins concept also. Here let us prefer the foreign key. So here Siler reserves boats, right? Generally, if at all a Silers want to reserve a boat, then we have to maintain three types of data: Silers data, reserves data and boats data. Clear? So here to reserve, so if at all the reserves we have to create reserves table, then it must include both Silers data and boats data. Clear? Why? Because Siler must reserve boat, right? So here we use the concept of foreign key. So SID, BID. This is from Silers table. This is from boats table. This is from boats table. And date, on which day that Siler want to reserve a boat, right? On which day the Siler want to reserve a boat. Here which data type I have used? Data type date I have used, right? And here the primary key can be considered as both SID, BID and date. And what is a foreign key here? Foreign key, these two can be act as foreign key, SID and BID. Why? Because SID will refer Silers table and BID will refer boats table, right? So in this manner we used to create all the three tables. Next, if at all we used to find all 18-year-old sailors, that means I used to represent all sailors whose age is 18, that I used to select with a select all, I want all information, whole information. That means we have to represent with asterisk symbol from Silers table. Why? Because they have represented only Silers, right? So from Silers table, where condition, what is the condition here? S dot age is equal to 18. Why? Because only 18 year Silers data only I want. So here I have represented S dot age is equal to 18. Here the S is nothing but the variable that I have represented for Silers. Instead of writing whole table name, we can write simply variable, S variable, right? For what reason also I have mentioned, that means to remove the ambiguity between the attributes. Why? Because if at all two tables contain same attributes, we have to represent a particular attribute from that particular table. That is what the reason the variables has been specified here. Next, to find just names and ratings, replace the first line. That is nothing but instead of representing asterisk here, if at all a particular two columns data has been, you have to retrieve only two columns data. That means select S dot S name, Silers name, comma S dot rating from Silers S, where S dot age is equal to 18. So in this manner you have to represent a query. Till now we have discussed about how to query simple queries, right? How to write, how to ask a question to the database. Now if at all I used to combine or I used to retrieve data from multiple tables at a time, then how could I able to write a query? Let us discuss this one with an example. So here the query is, I want find Silers name, who reserves boat number 102. Find Silers name who reserve boat number 102. These are the three tables: Silers, boats and reserves. Silers reserves boats, right? So what I want here? I want Silers name. So S dot I want select S dot S name, right? From I want the reservation, who the Silers must reserve a boat and that boat must be 102. Boat ID must be 102. So I can visit these two tables, right? I can visit these two tables, Silers table and reserves table. Why? Because here in Silers table we have Silers name. Clear? And this Silers must reserve boat number 102. Well, boat number 102 will be in reserves table, right? So to select the Silers who reserve boat number 102, we have to visit first these two tables, Silers table and reserves table. To to join or to visit these two tables, we have one common column, or else we should have one common column, that is nothing but here SID. SID is one common column. Based upon this common column only, we used to relate these two tables, right? So, I want the Silas name whose boat number is 102, who reserved boat number 102. So, let us check for reserves boat number 102. What are the IDs here? 1, 2. So, what are the IDs who reserved boat number 102? Only 1, 2, right? So, only 1, 2. So, only 1, 2, and the names of these particular 1, 2 respectively are Fred and Jim. Fred and Jim. So, only these two names will be retrieved, Fred and Jim. These are the Silas who reserved boat number 102. So, in this manner, we have to represent the query by using multiple tables. So, here I have represented Silas. Yes, this is the variable which represents Silas table, and R is a variable which represents reserves table. Where the condition, what is the condition? SIDs must be equal, right? Based upon these two conditions, this condition only, I can able to retrieve the data. Where S.SID means Silas table.SID must be equal to reserves table.SID. So, S.SID must be equal to R.SID. Whatever the SIDs has been equal, those must be compared first. Those must be compared first. 1, 2, 1, 2. These must be compared. And one more condition. What is the condition? And you should satisfy that BID, boat number must be 102. So, that boat ID, what here? Boat ID has been in reserves table. So, R.BID must be 102. These two conditions must satisfy. Then only the output will be retrieved. Clear? So, in this manner, we can able to represent basic SQL queries and by using multiple relations also. Thank you.